Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We certainly appreciate you being here. Today is Monday, March 12th, and we'll start tonight's meeting with a roll call of your City Council.
Council members Aguilar.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Intiman.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Jameson.
Here.
Karski.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
All 8 City Councilors are here, which is great. We'll start our meeting tonight with an invocation, as we always do. We will have Councilor Michelle Erpenbach will lead us in tonight's invocation. After Councilor Erpenbach is done, if you would remain standing, we would appreciate it for our Pledge of Allegiance. Councilor Erpenbach.
I've selected a traditional Dakota prayer for this evening. Will you pray with me, please? Grandfather, Great Spirit, you have always been, and before you, nothing has been. There is no one to pray to but you. The star nations all over the heaven are yours, and yours are the grasses of the earth. You are older than all need, older than all pain and prayer. Grandfather, Great Spirit, fill us with light. Give us strength to understand and eyes to see. Teach us to walk the soft earth as relatives to all that live. Help us, for without you, we are nothing. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is Deb Callahan here? Deb, welcome. Thanks so much for coming here tonight, Deb. I do have a proclamation, and Deb is here to help me. Whereas the Big Sioux aquifer underlies approximately 1,000 square miles, and together with the Big Sioux River, provides water to communities in southeastern South Dakota. Whereas providing 2,430 fourth grade children from 105 classes in 51 southeastern South Dakota schools with information about the protection and preservation of water, our most valuable natural resource, will help children make educated decisions concerning water in the future. Whereas this education is accomplished with the help of 100 plus volunteers from federal, state, county, and city governments, and yes, private business. Whereas this is the 19th annual event. Whereas the Sioux Falls City Council recognizes the long-term benefits of this type of education and supports such educational efforts. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim March 19th and 20th, 2012 as Sioux Empire Water Festival Days in Sioux Falls and the Sioux Empire. Thank you, Deb. Well, thank you. We'll now move on to tonight's consent agenda. Council, any changes or motions on tonight's consent agenda?
Move approval, Aguilar.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Aguilar's made a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. If there are no comments or questions, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Aguilar.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Intiman.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Tonight's regular agenda. Council, any changes to tonight's regular agenda?
Move to approve. Second, Intiman.
Councilor Jameson's made that motion to approve tonight's agenda, seconded by Councilor Intiman. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Aguilar.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Intiman.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Thank you. That is also passed 8-0. Again, we'd like to welcome all of you here tonight. It's great to have you here. One of the things that we do at City Council meetings is allow the public an opportunity to engage your City Council. If you would like to come forward, please do. If it is an item on the agenda, and if you want to talk about that, if you would just hold off till that point in the agenda, we'd appreciate it. But otherwise, please come forward. All we ask you to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and just let the people of Sioux Falls know who you are. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Teresa Staley. And first of all, I wanted to invite the public to the council work session that's going to be held here at the Carnegie on this coming Wednesday, March 14th at 4:30. And during this time, the council, you will be discussing public input. And this is this precious time right now that the citizens have at the beginning of each council meeting to address the council with their concerns. And this public input is a fantastic tool that allows the citizenry to inject themselves into the process, and this helps to keep our government open and transparent. So people, come on down, 4:30 on Wednesday, and be a part of this work session on public input. I had a meeting on Friday with John Arneson, who is the attorney for the Argus leader, who filed the complaint against you for how you handled the firing of our beloved city clerk, Deborah Owen. And John Arneson did an excellent job at that hearing representing the citizens of our city. And I would like to commend Greg Jamieson, who was the only city council member who sat through that event. I understand that our David Fifley advised you all not to come to that, and that was very unfortunate, because you missed the ability to hear the testimony and to see the things for yourselves. And there were comments back and forth from the state's attorneys on that Open Commissions Board. There was a debate between John Arneson and David Fifley that was wonderful. Greg got to see that. And at the end of the day, the evidence against your actions in firing Deborah Owens was overwhelming. And right now, you don't have that. All you're hearing is what David is relaying to you and what the bits and pieces you've gotten from the media. And today, I did try to find out if Kello and KSFY would have a tape that you could watch, so you could see those proceedings for yourself. And they just have bits and pieces of that. The AP did record it, as did the state's attorney's office. So if you wanted to hear the audio of it, you can do that. But this is all about openness, so you have the facts in front of you. John, the attorney, used a quote from the George Mason Law Review, and I gave you a copy of this, and I wanted the public to see this. The benefits and costs of open government. I just thought this was so fantastic as he was reading this on Thursday. There is no question that openness in government fosters several important policy goals. Openness can create a better informed citizenry, which in turn makes public officials more accountable to the electorate for their actions. Openness also allows the public to inject itself directly into the legislative decision-making process, as interested members of the public can express their views more easily and can correct what they perceive to be factual misconceptions of the public body. Requiring the meetings, formal and informal, of government officials to take place in the open also can help prevent corruption and temper the secret influence of special interests. It also can eliminate a measure of the public's distrust of government, as the citizenry can see every step of the decision-making process. These policy goals are in many ways the cornerstone of our system of government, and as a result, openness in government is often viewed as an essential component to a well-running democracy. Fantastic words to live by. I care deeply about Deborah Owen, and a lot of people in our city do. She did not deserve to be fired. It is unfortunate that you did not show her the same support, understanding, and compassion that you have shown to David Fifley these past days. Deborah was not given a chance to defend herself. The axe was dropped right on her head. I don't want to see David Fifley fired. And Vernon Brown, I commend you for what you did at the 4 o'clock. If any of you have a chance to watch that, please do. You stuck your neck out, you spoke the truth, and you said, I'm sorry. Watch out for the arrogance of power. It's a downfall for anybody. Thank you, Vernon. David has always been kind and fair to me. I deeply appreciate that. I don't believe, David, it was your agenda to fire Deborah Owen. I think you were taking your orders from the mayor and from the city council, certain members. I think you become the scapegoat, and they're trying to pin the tail on the David. You're the scapegoat for this tragic situation. Deborah Owen deserves a public apology. Our city government needs to work harder to regain the public trust and to show that it cares about treating all the people with fairness and compassion. Search your souls, please. Show us that you care about representing the best interest of all the citizens of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the council? Mr. Weideman, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Council members. I'm I.L. Weideman. I've lived here in Sioux Falls for a number of years. I have to commend Teresa for her giving you that talk, because it's just about mine in total. I do want to commend you, Vernon. Appreciate you being honest, straightforward. And you too, Mr. Jameson, and thanks for being at the meeting Thursday. I understand everybody, all of you were told not to be, and I appreciate you being there. Dave, I've talked to you. I have a lot of confidence in you. I do not think in any way, shape, or form you need to be fired. However, I do think the mayor and those who were at the root of this evil should be more than just slapped on the wrist. Two of the council members that really pushed for Debbie's dismissal, they know who they are. The ones that I've heard a couple of them more or less kind of apology, but then they give a statement to the Argus leader that's not contrite at all. You know who I'm talking about, Michelle. So I think I'll leave it at that. You can go on and on and on. It was wrong. She deserves an apology.
Thank you.
Run for mayor, Debbie.
Thank you, Mr. Weideman. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak to the council?
Tim Stanga. Sorry I haven't been here for a couple weeks. I pulled my hip out of place and it's hard to walk. Vernon, again, people look up at you and they know you're not afraid to say what's on your mind. They know you're not afraid to do what you want to do. I think that the city council, seeing Mr. Jameson at the meeting, that the city council took bad advice for not being there at the hearing, because you should have heard it. I wasn't there, but normally if I got to be at a hearing, my attorney tells me to show up, because that's what I'm there for. David, I'm not going to hold you accountable because we've been playing the blame game too long. What we have to do is man up in this city and figure out who's going to be the leader, who's going to sit up and say, I apologize not only to the citizens of Sioux Falls, but I apologize to Debbie and her family. That's what needs to be done. At least in a court of law, you can defend yourself. She didn't get to defend herself at all. And I knew Deb. She treated me decent when I came in here. She treated me as a normal person, and not saying that you guys don't. But another one, Kenny, I appreciate you standing up for the garbage haulers. They need somebody to stand up for them, because one reason, what was being done was wrong. I sat down with 3-4 garbage haulers on Tuesday, Wednesday. I talked to them, and I know what they're going through. And just like I told them, all we got to do is go get some signatures. We can put it on a ballot. We can go right around the city council. We can go around the mayor's office, do whatever we want to do. It's time that the citizens start taking their city back, start realizing that we do have power, and we can use that power. Like the garbage hauler said to me, it's time that the city looks at how the city is being run, look at all the wasteful spending, at all the trucks that are out idling, sitting at Casey's. I sat and watched 4 truck drivers sit at Casey's. Trucks were running, in having donuts and coffee, laughing and giggling. My money. I'm suggesting that the city spend some money, put GPS on these city vehicles, just like the road graders. I don't know if we can take them off the road graders, put them in these trucks and try them out and see what's going on. But my suggestion is let's clean house in the city before we worry about anybody else. And if we got to look at the city government as worrying about trash, that's where we got to start.
Thank you, Mr. Stinga. Folks, is there anybody else who wanted to speak to the council tonight? Well, Ms. Smith?
Mr. Mayor, council members, I want to just take a few moments, if I can. I think all of you know by now that Erica Beck, our economic development manager, is leaving her position at the end of the week. And I wanted to just take a few moments. Again, I thought this was the most appropriate venue to do this in, and recognize Erica for her almost 7 years of service. I shared with the other directors this morning at a meeting with the department heads that when Erica informed me that she was leaving us a week ago, you could have cut off my right arm and it would have hurt less physically than those words from her. But I do also understand this is a tremendous professional opportunity for Erica to continue to grow in her career. It's an opportunity that she had to seize upon, and she has to pursue. And ultimately, that's what all of us want for all of the staff in city government. We want them to pursue their dreams and continue to grow professionally. Beyond that, I also wanted to say, I've had the privilege and the pleasure of working with a number of talented, committed people over the years, professionally, personally, in volunteer capacities. Erica Beck is as talented, smart, dedicated, and as strong a work ethic as anyone I've ever worked with. And again, our office, our department is not as large as some of the others, but it's a very, very busy department. It is not unusual for myself to leave the office at 6:30, 7 o'clock, sometimes later, but the truth is my light switch is not always the last one shut off. If it's not mine, it's Erica's. And I think all of you know the type of person Erica is, how committed and dedicated she's been to the citizens and to making this city better. But I thought it needed to be said here. The citizens need to know as well. So Erica, thank you and best wishes.
Thank you, Darren. Folks, anybody else who wanted to speak to the council tonight? Well, very good. Thank you so much for those comments. I know the council appreciates those. Now moving on to item number 13.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the release of a portion of a permanent utility easement in Tract F of Highland Park Subdivision, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
Good evening. Chad Heavey with the Engineering Division of Public Works. This item and the following item 14 are related. This permanent utility easement is in northeast Sioux Falls between Cliff Avenue and I-229 and between Benson Road and 60th Street North. More specifically, it is on the west side of Eleanor Avenue between 57th Street North and 60th Street North. The easement does not contain public or private utilities and is no longer needed. The property owner plans to construct a building similar to the existing building and is requesting this easement be released from his property. Engineering recommends approval.
Folks, this is a second reading, so if there's anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this, you're more than welcome to do so. Now, anybody want to speak to this? Very good. Council, any questions, comments, motions?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Rolfing. Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Is there any discussion or comments? Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Intiman.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes. Thank you. That's passed 8-0. Item 14.
Resolution vacating the public right-of-way on North Eleanor Avenue from East 60th Street North to East 57th Street North.
This right-of-way is in northeast Sioux Falls and is between 57th Street North and 60th Street North. The right-of-way is unimproved and does not contain utilities. If vacated, a utility easement will not be maintained. If vacated, the land will be used in the construction of a new building similar to the existing building. The petitioner has complied with our street vacation policy and is present tonight to answer any of your questions. A neighborhood meeting was held on February 8th, and there was no opposition to the vacation, and engineering recommends approval.
Thank you, Chad. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to this? Council?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Tarski.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve, seconded by Councilor Entenmann. Is there any discussion on this item? A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Kurttenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Ralphs?
Yes. Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Item 15.
A resolution abating and refunding front foot assessments for street maintenance fees at parcel numbers 35194, 35196, 35197, 35198, 35200, and 35201.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I am Andy Berg with the Engineering Division of Public Works. Tonight we're coming forward with a resolution on behalf of the resident, Mr. Choi. He owns 6 parcels on Pearl Street. He is asking for an abatement and refund of the street frontage fees on these properties. The street frontage fee is charged to all real property within the city that fronts a public street. Those fees go towards city street maintenance, pothole repairs, snow removal, those type of things. Mr. Choi is currently charged $401 for the 6 parcels that he owns along Pearl Street. He's being properly charged per the ordinance, and staff does not recommend waiving of this fee. Mr. Choi is here if you'd like to ask him any questions.
Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Please come forward. Welcome.
I'm David Shelton, and basically what I'm here to do is to speak with Mr. Choi because his English is not very...
Mr. Shelton, thank you. Did Mr. Choi want to say something to the council?
Yes, he does. You want to... No. Okay. The street that is Pearl Street is in disrepair. Lots 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are not buildable lots. They have some aesthetic value, and that's about it. I did take video today of East Pearl Street. I'm sure you guys have that as well. It's been in disrepair for quite a long time. It's at substandard width. It has not been maintained at all. And Mr. Choi would like to see the street, the assessment repealed, the citing that the real property is inequitable, the assessment is inequitable and unjust, and requests that such assessment be refunded to him and not continued to be charged. Is that right? Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. So, folks, just stay just real quick if you don't mind. Council, did anybody have any questions of Mr. Choi before he sat down?
No,
Councilor
Mr.
Anderson?
Choi.
Okay,
No,
Mr.
no.
Choi. Okay. Any questions? Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for interpreting as well. Thank you. Mr. Choi, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone who wanted to speak to this item outside of Mr. Choi and his interpreter? Very good. Councilor Anderson Jr.
Okay, Mr. Berg. Are these buildable lots? What actually can you do in these lots? They look like they're pretty small to me.
They are, each as they stand now, the lots are not buildable according to planning zoning. The square footage is underneath what is required. I spoke with building services and asked them what could possibly be done to make them buildable. Their suggestion was that possibly combining lots together, you would meet the square footage requirement. He would still have to go to the Board of Adjustments to get a waiver for the front foot setback, but they said that that would be one avenue he could pursue for building on those lots.
But right now, as they stand, there isn't anything he can do individually with each lot.
He can't build on them.
He would have to replot them?
Yeah, combine the parcels at a minimum.
Okay, so basically, he's going to have to spend a few $1,000s to get them combined to hopefully get it through zoning to be able to build something.
I don't know what the cost is, but yes, he would have to get them combined before he could approach the Board of Adjustments to attempt to build on them, yes.
Yes, Councilor Karski.
Just curious, I see that there's homes across the street from these lots, correct?
Yes.
Are they zoned the same for the frontage as he is for the full-size lot?
The frontage is charged $1 per foot of frontage you have along the public street. So they're not the equal widths across the street. Obviously, they're all just a little bit different, but yes, every lot on the opposite side of the street is charged.
The same per foot?
Exactly. Yeah, everyone in the city is charged the $1 per foot, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Ruffing.
Yeah, it appears that lot, was it 8, and the lot right across the street from it are exactly the same size. Am I correct there?
They appear to be. I don't know exactly.
Or very, very close, and there's a lot, if we go, they're very close, and there's a house with a garage, or that wouldn't go now? That would not zone up right now?
Without knowing the other one's square footage, yes,
Yeah.
certainly. It may have been
Okay.
built before the requirements were set. I'm not sure.
So you're saying that putting two of them together would allow enough to build a house on?
Correct. You'd have to still fit your setback requirements, and you'd have to get a waiver or a reduction on the front foot assessment, but they would meet the square footage requirement then.
Do you think that would be possible?
I asked the building services group, and they thought that was a possibility. They
Okay.
obviously can't speak for the Board of Adjustments, but that's what they thought.
Councilor Ruffing.
Could I ask Mr. Choi a
Yes.
question?
Ms. Choi and your interpreter, please. Welcome.
Mr. Choi, how long ago did you buy these lots?
Few years ago.
And your intentions when you bought them?
What's the mean?
What did you want to do with the property?
Because I live across the street, so when Solomon own it, they don't mow, so I always do it. So before I buy it, I talk to the courthouse. They say all the lot come with 200 something a year for the tax. After I buy it, because it's not legal street, it's no sidewalk and no curb.
So he's telling that he thought the taxes were going to be $200 a year
Yeah,
for
that's
all
what
of
they told
them?
me. I talked to John. He told me it's 200 something per year.
With no special assessments. The lots are 45 feet deep, so they don't meet that 50-foot deep requirement.
And now they're 400 feet, $400.
The tax.
It's $400 now.
Yeah, 400 something.
Right.
Yeah, for the straight mainers.
Right.
Yeah. And, okay.
Councilor Bach?
Just a basic question. Where is Mr. Choi's, where's your home?
I just live across the street, 1408.
So this is your view across the street then that we're looking at, right?
Before I buy the lot, I talked to the zoning. They tell me that's not big enough. I said, but they tell, John told me 200 something. I said, that's good. It's okay for me. But after I bought it now, it's 600 something. And I talked to the zoning. They say, because the lot face to the Pearl Street, if I build a house, the front need 25 and the back side need 25. The lot only 44. So,
Right, good, thank you.
So there was apparently an attempt by the previous owner to develop that property for multifamily, and that was unsuccessful. And I think in part because it's too shallow in depth. So it's a green belt now is what it is. And Mr. Choi keeps that green belt up so that it's not unsightly as it was before.
Thank you. Yes, Councilor Jameson.
For Andy or even Chad, if he's still here, that 50-foot setback or that 50-foot rule of the depth of the lots, they're 45, you say? This is if we could have Chad come up, or Andy, sorry, Chad. This is just as a general kind of statement, this is a perfect example where we need to be a little more flexible and allow homes to be moved into there or built in there, just like this. These would be great affordable homes for somebody, and let this landowner redevelop these lots, and let's somehow get around this red tape and allow this to happen. And I get the idea of some of these rules that we need for sure, but for specific cases like this, how could we go about changing those rules so that this gentleman could develop these lots as intended and not have to worry about changing or merging and replatting these lots only to find out later that the Board of Adjustments isn't going to allow it? How can we assure them? What could we do?
I think I'll let Chad answer.
All right, fair enough. I don't know if there's an answer either. But.
Chad Hevy with the Engineering Division of Public Works. We specifically went and talked to zoning to see what could be done here. I think that's a larger discussion to have with the staff from zoning. They sounded optimistic that something could be done. At that point, they were just talking about combining the lots to meet that square footage. Now, a consequence or a further discussion with them could maybe get to what you're getting at, is that maybe that square footage could be removed, but that's really not my cup of tea. So,
well, I'd sure like to find a solution for this. I think just changing the amount of taxes that they pay isn't, or abating them all. I don't know if he intends to develop them, but maybe he could have then sell them to somebody else who would. Just a thought.
Mr. Choi, would you mind answering Councilor Jameson's question? I think it would probably help the entire council. The question was, Mr. Choi, what are your plans for the property? Do you have any immediate plans?
No, I don't have the plan.
That's okay.
Yeah.
5-year plan?
No.
Okay.
The reason I bought a lot, because we don't have it's not legal street. The neighbor always park at the front, and when the city come to Powder Street, the neighbor, the car, they don't know where they're going to park it. Anyway, if the city come to Powder Street, they always push the snow to my property.
Okay, pretty good. Councilor Jameson, one more follow-up.
Right, I see Chad coming forward. I think the question.
Thank you, Mr. Choi.
The legal street question here. What do we got here? Those look narrow.
it may be narrow. I would say it is a legal street. Now, it may be a rural section road, which means it does not have curb and gutter, and it does not have sidewalk, but it's a street. It's public right-of-way. It is a legal street. We have talked to the street department. They don't plow this street any different than they do any other street. They make one pass, I'll say on the south side, push the snow onto that side of the road. They make the circle in the cul-de-sac and come back the other way and deposit snow on the north side.
Councilor Anderson, Engineer.
Chad, while you're there, don't we normally charge frontage fees like this on developed property?
It's all property. All property that fronts right-of-way, dedicated public right-of-way.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Councilor Aguilar.
So the previous owner was paying this frontage fee?
Yes.
And Mr. Choi paid this fee last year?
Council, any motions or comments? Yes, Councilor Brown?
Mayor, just for the benefit of the audience, could you explain for them what a yes and no vote will mean on this, please?
Okay. Did you want to tackle that, or you know what? How about City Attorney David Feifley, just so we don't make a mistake here?
I don't have the resolution right in front of me, but all actions before the council are in the affirmative. So if you vote yes, it means you would be granting the abatement and refund of the front footage assessments. So if you vote no, thank you.
If you vote no, you're denying the abatement.
You're denying the abatement
Then
request
Mr.
and
Choi
keeping
has
it
requested.
as is.
Okay. Councilor Aguilar?
But does that end future? Say we vote yes and it is refunded, is that what happens from here on out? Or would this be something that would have to come back on a yearly basis?
Chad? Or?
I'll let
No, as long as the property remains in the same state, no development occurs, it would be changed to 0 on the frontage fee and remain that way until the property changes use.
Council, would anybody like to make a motion? Councilor Erbenbach?
A comment first.
Comment?
If this were a different part of town where the lots were more normal, more regular, it'd be a different story, but I don't, this doesn't make sense to me to charge this in. So I'm going to move approval and encourage your support.
Second.
It's been a motion by Councilor Erbenbach, seconded by Councilor Aguilar to approve the resolution to abate and refund the front foot assessments for this property. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilor Rolfe?
I would, as much as I see what this is, I think there are ways around this, and I think it should be worked on. I also see that some research should have been done when this was purchased, so I would urge you to vote the other way.
Councilor Brown?
Question for Andy. So if this abatement goes through and he is not charged, and then down the road decides to develop the property, what process is in place to then provide that he be charged the assessment for the improvements?
The process would be building permits being pulled for
That
this
would trigger
parcel.
it?
Yes, that would be something that would come up on our radar.
But before he could do that, obviously he'd have to replat it because building permits would not be issued on this.
Unless he got a waiver of the square footage and was able to build on the lots as they exist.
Okay.
We do have a motion on the floor. Hearing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
I'm going to have to vote yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
No.
Rolfing?
No.
That is passed 6-2. Item 16.
A resolution abating and refunding front foot assessments for street maintenance fees at parcel number 53604.
Items 16 and 17, Andy and I received an email late this afternoon from the property owner that's associated with these two items. He is ill tonight, and so I'm going to request a deferral of both of these items until April 9th. I thought Denise was clerking tonight, so I sent her an email not knowing it would be you, so I apologize for that, but I'm requesting a deferral of 16 and 17 until Monday, April 9th.
Councilor Jameson?
I'll make a motion to defer items 16, 17.
Second,
Second,
Anderson.
Erpenbach.
There has been a motion to defer by Councilor Jameson, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr., to defer not only item 16, but defer item 17 as well. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you.
I wonder, I should probably read it, though.
David, is that okay?
I should probably read it.
All right. Why don't we read number 17 into the record before we defer?
A resolution abating and refunding storm drainage fee assessments at parcel number 53604.
Very good. Now we've read item 16 and 17 into the record. There's been a request to defer. That motion was made by Councilor Jameson, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Intiman?
Yes.
Erpenbach? Yes. Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Item 18.
A resolution abating and refunding storm drainage fee assessments at parcel numbers 10-422, 10-423, 10-424, 10-425, 10-428, and 55-652.
The city is bringing forward this resolution on behalf of Mr. Hine. Mr. Hine was charged drainage fees on all of the parcels listed. They have since been combined. That is why the maps show one parcel. The drainage fees on this property were charged based on the land usage designated for the parcels. The only land use that we don't charge for are recreational land uses and land designated as ag for tax purposes. We charged it correctly as the land use was listed. However, through discussions with Mr. Hine, he showed documentation that the properties were ag for the entire period that they were charged. So a refund of $5,253.28 for the years that he was paying drainage fees when the property was ag is recommended by the staff.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this? Mr. Hine, did you want to speak to this item? Very good. Very good. Council, any questions or comments?
Move approval, Aguilar.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Aguilar has made a motion to approve this. It was seconded by Councilor Karski. Is there any discussion? Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Intiman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Item 19.
A resolution of intent to establish a lodging establishment occupation tax as an additional means of funding eligible projects, improvements, facilities, and activities within the Main Street Business Improvement District.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Brent O'Neill with Community Development Department. Here to talk to you a bit about our Main Street Improvement District and as it correlates to some upcoming activities that we'd like to see implemented. As you're aware, you do see some activities with the Main Street Business Improvement District annually when we come forward with a special assessment. What we're looking for in this resolution is your consent for us to begin looking at a what we call a lodging establishment occupation tax, which is essentially a per room, per night tax charged to transient guests. The essential purpose in putting a package like this together really is to create a new tool for our downtown economic development toolbox. It's also a way to find additional funds to enhance existing activities we are doing downtown. Any funds generated can be used for a variety of purposes. Those are spelled out both by statute as well as the direction of the council. Those can range from capital projects as well as non-capital projects, but generally those projects that work to the betterment of our downtown district area. An important element of this proposal is that we would work hand in hand with hotel operators, both those that are downtown now as well as those that may come online soon. And it's really to create a optimum environment for supporting development activities downtown. Before we get into a little bit more detail, I just want to emphasize that we did try to build in maximum flexibility for this in its overall implementation, most specifically for how hotels can or cannot participate in this new tax. Participation we've set up in such a way that a resolution like this and the future actions that I'll get to in a minute would make it eligible for hotels downtown to be charged or their guests to be charged under this tax. An important component, though, is that this does not happen automatically, but that a hotel would need to come forward to the city council and request that they be included in the tax. So it is going to be, like I said earlier, an opt-in option for the hotels. As part of any proposal that we would bring forward, we would also want to identify a clear purpose for why we were doing that and really try to tie it to something very tangible and very specific that both, again, benefits the city as well as a justifiable reason for the hotel to want to participate. Under this, I've said this already, but a nightly tax per room, per occupied room would be collected by the hotel and remitted to the city for collection. The city would then be able to disperse those funds for one of those uses outlined in the resolution of intent. I want to make very clear that the dispersion of funds is on a reimbursement basis only, so the city is not going to be on the hook for debt or a large payment. But we'd really expect in a lot of cases that these funds could be used for something that's either existing as far as being programmed to occur, or it would be something that we would ask the partnership hotel or other private entities in partnership with the hotel to upfront any of those costs. That is really the first half of what this resolution does. The second half brings in a first request, which is related to a project that we've discussed on and off for a while now, but more recently in front of the council. This is the proposed hotel, Hilton Garden Inn development where the river ramp now stands, and as we see that project go forward, this is an opportunity to do some nice things with that site as well as help offset some of the extraordinary costs of getting that site ready for development. We have identified up to $3 million in eligible expenses. Obviously, we don't expect that tax to get to that level or reimbursable expenses to get to that level, but those do include the environmental costs, the maybe additional costs that aren't covered through a tax increment district on the river ramp, and other things that we have listed in there. This particular request would ask for a $2 per room per night tax, which is now the maximum allowed by state law. We are still putting together, the final details, and projections are one thing, so we are estimating about a 25-year payback period on what the expenses incurred here would require as far as the time to generate enough funds to pay that back. I want to just emphasize that one additional thing, that the total in the resolution you see is $3.5 million, and we've put $500,000 in here as kind of a placeholder as a way to support the entire district. So that there is $500,000 of the bid tax that's generated that could go to fund the existing activities that we do downtown through the bid. Right now, those are primarily implemented through Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated. A bit on the procedure tonight and in the coming weeks. This is a unique item where, per state statute, we're required to do the implementation of this both through a resolution as well as an ordinance. The ordinance would come later and is really what formally implements this and puts it in our code. The resolution of intent does just that. For one, it puts out there what the council's intent is in going forward with the Business Improvement District Lodging Establishment Tax, as well as it's going to be one of our elements of notifying the public, and more particularly the downtown property owners, that this is coming forward. So with that, I just want to reiterate kind of the 3 points in tonight's resolution of intent and then open it up for questions. Again, the first is to provide notice of the council's intended action coming forward next month. It would also declare the council's intent that there would be a lodging establishment tax option now available to any hotel within the Business Improvement District, and then it also addresses the framework for how a tax would be implemented at the Hilton Garden Inn, as well as how those funds would be used.
Brent, thank you. Before we go to the council for questions, is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Ms. Strait, welcome.
Paul Haig, 1300 West 57th Street. I just want to emphasize, too, that, for the council's sake and for the community's sake, that, these funds are generated by us through loans or equity or any type of situation that we raise, so it's no burden on the community at all. We take the liability on for these funds that we raise to put into the infrastructure on this site that is, there's some extraordinary costs given the location and where we're building. So that's the reason why, with Brent's help and the city's help, that we're able to propose this, and wanted to let you know that just from our perspective that we're taking that burden on, the liability for that. So,
Mr. Haig, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak to this item? Very good. Council, questions? Yes, Councilor Entman.
Brenda, I have a question for you, please. You're spelling out then, as you develop this, it's spelled out what this tax, bid tax, is going to be used for. Specifically, if it's for soil mitigation, Is that spelled out specifically then, as you come forward?
It's in generalities, but there is an item that's, site preparation that includes soil remediation, grading, et cetera, that would be required.
Are you then able to put an actual cost associated with that site preparation? In other words, you say about a 25-year payback. Is there an intent then that this sunsets then at that 25 years?
Yeah, I mean, there's an intent, for one, that it doesn't go on forever, two, that it covers real costs, and third, that it really helps get this project to the point of going forward, but really ending at that point.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Jameson.
Thank you. I was chit-chatting with Councilor Anderson, so I hope I didn't miss some key information there, but is the city doesn't get any of the action here? I mean, they don't get any money on this. They just handle the transaction.
They do. I mean, there's going to be a small admin fee probably built into it that will be small, and let's say $1,000 a year approximate. To the same point, that $500,000 that we've put in there, that's really a long-term placeholder. So in the short run, we do expect either all or certainly the bulk of the funds to go to this project, but we do have that option in the longer term to use those funds for these same uses.
Councilor?
If I could, I'd just, I heard about this idea some time ago, and I just think it's genius. I don't know how else to say it, but I don't know who's responsible, but it's just genius, because it's really, the developers are benefiting, the city's benefiting. They're doing it, taxing themselves, essentially. They're creating a burden to themselves that people on the outskirts of town could bypass them, all for this commitment towards downtown. It's genius, I guess, is all I can say. So I don't know where'd this come from?
No, it's a team effort between all of us at community development and the developers.
Did you do that, Brett? I see people pointing at you.
I'm a part of the team, yes.
Very good work.
Nice job, Brett.
Very good.
Thank you, Councilor Jameson. Nice job. Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Okay, as you were saying, Brett, this is going to be on top of the regular bid tax that we already have on the other hotels in Sioux Falls that have joined that bid. What about our other two hotels right now that are currently downtown? Are they going to be a part of this also?
That would be at their option. We have reached out to them. We have not received a formal acknowledgement one way or the other, but certainly it's set up in such a way, again, that they'd have that option either way. And they will be getting a mailed copy of this intent as well, so they might have further questions after that. But again, we try to keep that flexibility open for them to not participate if they don't feel a need, and certainly they have that right to come to the council and ask to be included.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Wolfing.
Brent, with the other bid, this being on top of it, and that primarily going to the CVB, have you been in contact with the CVB on this, and is there any conflict that you can see there?
The CVB is aware of it. We have not addressed them formally, and we're considering attending their March meeting. But yeah, they are aware of it, and through various channels we have kind of communicated back and forth over that issue. As far as the conflict, we've researched this and vetted it, and we've certainly believed that it is going to stand on its own the way it is.
Yeah, I don't see any either, but it would be my advice to go see them and talk to them just along those lines. Thank you.
Well, Council, thank you. Would anybody like to make a motion on this item?
Move to approve the resolution.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Evans made that motion, seconded by Councilor Karski on item number 19. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Intiman?
Yes.
Erpenbach? Yes. Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 20.
A proposed resolution vacating the public right-of-way on North National Avenue from East 54th Street to East 54th Street North to the south property line of Track 16 Ralph's Track, and East 52nd Street North from the west property line of Track 16 Ralph's Tracks to North Jessica Avenue.
Chad.
Good evening, Chad Hebe with the Engineering Division of Public Works. I hope I don't get too wordy, but I need to probably give you a little history on this. This right-of-way, once again, is in the northeast part of Sioux Falls, between 54th Street North and Benson Road, and then between Cliff Avenue and Lewis Avenue. The right-of-way is unimproved, does not contain public utilities, but does contain a private natural gas line. If vacated, utility easements will not be maintained except for a small utility easement for that gas line. If vacated, the land is proposed to be used in the expansion of Vander Haeg's truck and equipment business. As part of their business operation, they'd like to expand to the east and south. And a part of that, they would have employees crossing National Avenue several times a day with large equipment, and thus have requested that that right-of-way be vacated. The property was recently rezoned from the light industrial district to the heavy industrial district. The petitioner has complied with our street vacation policy and will be here on April 9th to answer any questions. A neighborhood meeting was held on February 8th and was attended by approximately 20 people from the area. There is no opposition to the vacation of 52nd Street North. So the 52nd Street North runs east and west. There's no opposition to that vacation. However, there is some opposition to the vacation of the north-south portion of National Avenue. And I'm just going to I'll summarize some of the opposition for you tonight. There are some businesses on South National Avenue, and currently when they try to leave their business at, I'll say the peak times at night, they want to get on Benson Road, they want to make that left turn, get on Benson Road and head to I-229. Well, there's no signal there, and that becomes a very challenging movement to make with the heavy traffic on National Avenue. And so if National Avenue is vacated and the road is not constructed, the chances of there ever being sufficient traffic on National, specifically at Benson, is very unlikely that we would ever meet warrants and a signal would not be installed. Planning and engineering have spent a lot of time with this neighborhood trying to work out a resolution. We're going to continue to do that over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But now I need just to spend a couple more minutes just talking about the neighborhood in general. If you could go back. On your maps, the areas in blue are what is being proposed to be vacated tonight. And then the areas in orange we have vacated previously. All right, the arterial streets in this area are Benson Road, Cliff Avenue, 60th Street North, and those roads are fed by the collector streets, which is National Avenue, Lewis Avenue, 54th Street North, and 57th Street North. The remainder of these streets are local streets. The local streets feed the collectors feed the arterials. The construction of the collector and local streets, however, is the responsibility of the adjoining property. And so the collector and local streets in this area that have been constructed have either been constructed by the adjoining properties or the city has constructed them and assessed the cost to the adjoining properties. National Avenue has been identified as a collector street that would run from 60th Street North down to Benson Road, very similar to Lewis Avenue. And like I said, the south half of National Avenue has been constructed. The north half has been constructed. It's just this middle section that has not. This is a very, very unique area of Sioux Falls. You can see that the lots range in size from very large to very small. Some of the lots are developed. Many, however, are vacant. Some lots have right-of-way on all 4 sides. Some only have right-of-way, let's say, off their front door. And when you're talking about a lot that has right-of-way on all 4 sides, it becomes very expensive for that property owner, if they have to build streets, on all four sides of that property. And because of this, we are in support of vacating some right-of-way up here. We have vacated some, and we plan on vacating more in the future as development continues up here. I'll just show you also on this map, we have several different types of roads up here. The areas in blue are urban streets with curb and gutter. The areas in yellow there is right-of-way there, but there's no road. It could be full of trees. The areas in orange are, most for the part, they're paved roads. They might be gravel roads. So there's just a mixture of different infrastructure that we have up here. So finally, I'll just summarize. If National Avenue is vacated, the north-south collector route would be National Avenue, a portion of the way south, and then it would jog over on 54th Street North, and then Jessica would be on 57th, I'm sorry, and then Jessica would be the collector coming down to Benson. But one of the things we're trying to work on is there support for this new collector route by the neighborhood. Another item is because the spacing between Jessica and Lewis Avenue does not meet our signal spacing requirements and our engineering design standards, that a signal at that location would not happen. So if we have National goes through, we potentially have a signal there. If it's Jessica, we would not. Also, is there support to construct 50th Street North? That would get people from National Avenue traveling east. It would get them to Lewis Avenue. They could make a right turn onto Lewis Avenue and then get to a signal at Lewis and Benson, which would be a safe movement then to make the left turn and to get onto I-229. So we're also seeing if there's support for that. Finally, if National Avenue is not vacated and the road is constructed at some point in the future, there is a potential there that at some day in the future there'll be enough traffic on National at that intersection to install a signal. We have done a recent traffic count. Currently the warrants are nowhere near being met. If Vander Hags expands their business and National Avenue is constructed, then how does that affect their business with having city vehicles or, citizens driving on National Avenue? How does that interact with them having large equipment, forklifts and trucks and so on and so forth, making several trips across National Avenue every day with their business? So at this point, I won't say I'm in daily conversations with this group, but it's weekly, and so we're continuing to work on this, and I hope we have a resolution by April 9th. Thank you for your patience.
Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item tonight?
We're just setting a hearing date.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. We are, is there any discussion on this before we set the meeting?
Is it proper to ask questions, Chad? Question, what is the traffic count, Chad?
On
National?
Under 200.
200 a day? I'd like to have that specific number if you could.
I will. We're going to have a much more lengthy presentation on the 9th. So.
Okay, thank you.
With that in mind, maybe it's a hearing date from
Fair.
April 9th, 7 p.m. for this item. Councilor Anderson.
Okay. This is something that I've been working with Chad and the neighborhood about also. The business owner did contact me and want to give me a brief on what they were trying to do up here. What we have here is an area that is developing, but quite slowly. As Chad said, there's many different size lots and small undeveloped roads. A matter of fact, one that we just vacated tonight, Eleanor, is actually 2 dirt paths for your truck to go over. So, I mean, it is an area that is in transition. National Avenue, what I've heard from the business owners along National Avenue between Benson and 50th was they needed a way to be able to get out. Once again, with the traffic counts the way they are, we were trying to find the best way to allow these people to get out of that area, either east or north. And the other thing where some of the undeveloped road is there for National Avenue, if that road does get developed, there are other businesses that will have to close because they will not have the space to bring their semis in there, because most of the area up there is trucking companies. So there's a lot of challenges up there, and I want to applaud Chad and his staff for all the work they've done right now up to this point. And I think that there is a working resolution up here with the residents, but it's going to take a little time for us to come through with this. And I do support this at this point in time. And I will make the motion to set the hearing for April 9th, 2012 at 7 p.m.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
So move, Anderson.
Second, Entenmann.
Councilmembers Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's passed 8-0. This meeting is adjourned. Make it a great